Hi everyone, it's Reagan and welcome to the start of another reading vlog. It is Monday evening. I've just wrapped up work. I also wrapped up another reading vlog this morning. So we're on a bit of a roll here, but it is the week, obviously, as I've already established. So, you know, just the usual stuff, working, reading, watching TV, relaxing, but I have two books on my TBR for this week that I'm really looking forward to. So without further ado, let's chat about them. The first one is a carryover from my last vlog, as I only read about 100 pages, and that is Crown of Feathers by Nikki Powell Preto. This is a YA fantasy novel that I'm actually in the process of rereading, and I have to say I'm really loving it. It's multi-perspective. It has such interesting characters and character stakes, and in general I find that the plot is pretty intense, and more intense than what I feel like I usually encounter in YA. So I'll talk more about this in depth in a bit, but definitely enjoying the first 100 pages I've read so far. This will likely be the primary book I read for this vlog, but I have a book too, and honestly I'm jumping onto my June TBR a little bit early, and I'm gonna start The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwen. Yeah, this is the first book to a new epic fantasy story by this author. It's a Norse mythology inspired, with the setting of there was a giant conflict between gods. They've now been killed off, and civilization has rose from the ashes and basically harvest the bones of gods for power. There's war, revenge, and I don't know, bloody destiny. It just sounds really good. I'm looking forward to it. I've heard really good things, and this is a recent release. So these are the two books I hope to finish and start over the course of this week. As I mentioned, it's Monday night. I'm about to start dinner. I'm gonna make chili for the week. I'm definitely phoning it in a bit for dinner. I love a stew that I can just reheat for multiple days in a row, you know? So I'm about to start that process off, maybe have some flamin' hot Funyuns, and then from there, just relax. Read tonight. I do have kind of a busy work week this week, as I really need to get ahead on some projects, but I'm still trying to carve out my evenings for reading and hanging out with Clay and Matilda. So that's the plan. Welcome to the vlog. Yeah. Fully in pajamas. It's time to go make some chili. All right, about to chop my vegetables, but I got my bag of Funyuns that I'm about to put on Sour by Olivia Rodrigo because it's good. That album is good. I don't care if I'm too old. Alright, I'm about to show off my fast chili recipe, like a chili I want to eat within the next hour kind of chili recipe. Don't judge too much. There's going to be some elements that not all chili cookers are going to agree with, but I personally think it's tasty. So I have just an onion and a jalapeno in here. My main spices are cumin, garlic powder, chili powder is key, lots of chili powder, cayenne, salt and pepper. I've got my beans, kidney and pinto, and then for my base, I prefer to use tomato soup instead of canned tomatoes. I think it adds like a creaminess and a sweetness versus canned tomatoes just kind of taste tomatoey, especially if you don't let it cook for a long time. Again, this might be controversial, so sorry to my hardcore chili fan viewers out there. And then I put some beef broth in it as well. And then beef. That's it. And then you cook it, and it's pretty dang tasty, I won't lie. Spicy and good. So here we go. Everything is combined. I now just need to bring it up to a simmer and let it cook so it can reduce and get a little thicker, but really easy. Chili is always a win in my book. I'll put this over spaghetti, over potatoes. It'll be great. In the meantime, while that cooks, I am gonna do some reading. As I've said, I've already read 100 pages of Crown of Feathers before the start of this vlog, and in general, I'm just going to give you guys a quick overview of what this story is about. So again, this is a multi-perspective YA fantasy story, and it's essentially set in a kingdom that's sort of dealing with the consequences of like a civil war in like the previous generation or so. Essentially, there was once this powerful empire ruled by fierce warrior queens, but then there was kind of a division between two sisters and war broke out on two sides. The outcome of this is that there's a small splintered land called Pyra, and then the main empire, which is still being currently ruled by another faction. The outcome of this civil war is that anything kind of associated with the previous powerful warrior queen has been deemed illegal, and you can essentially be killed on the spot if you have those traits. And that is magic, as well as like phoenix riders, because the previous queen rode phoenixes, and there was like this powerful band of warriors that also rode phoenixes. So in this world, the magic is animal-based magic. People can connect and communicate with animals, which allows them to connect with phoenixes if they're very powerful. Animages is what they're called. They live in hiding, or they kind of escape to that splintered land called Pyra to escape the notice of the empire. So far, I have encountered 3 different primary perspectives. The first is Veronica, and she and her sister have been on the run their entire lives. They've recently just escaped the empire. They're animages and actually shadow mages, which is like an even rare form of magic. And their dream is to find and hatch phoenixes and become phoenix riders. These 2 sisters obviously have grown up together, but there's actually quite a bit of tension between Veronica and her sister Val. Particularly Val is much darker, much harsher, emotionally manipulative, and will really go out of her way to get what she wants in a situation. Due to a variety of circumstances at the beginning of the book, these sisters separate, and we primarily at this point only follow Veronica's point of view as she kind of strikes out on her own to try to kind of live her dream and continue her dream of becoming a phoenix rider. We also follow a character named Sev, who is an animage who lives in the Empire, and he is essentially hiding as a soldier in the army and is trying to escape notice, because if he's noticed, he could be killed on the spot. He crosses paths with Veronica at the beginning of the story, but it's not quite clear how their storylines will continue to intersect. He's a really interesting character. He's kind of like a thief sort of character who's sort of taking on different guises and roles to survive. His point of view is really funny. I really like his character so far. The last character we follow is Tristane, who's actually part of the currently resurrected Phoenix Riders in the area of Pyra. So again, Veronica is sort of seeking out this group, and ultimately she does run into them, and she disguises herself as a boy to try to join them. And Tristan is the son of the leader of this group, and he struggles, one, because he wants to be the best warrior he can possibly be, but there are elements of becoming a Phoenix Rider that are really difficult for him, and he has a lot of fear that is not really cared for by the people around him, especially his father. So far, these are the primary POVs. I'm really liking this book. I think it's such an interesting political mashup of what's going on. It's also very dark, particularly the sister relationship between Veronica and Valerie. There are some moments that honestly shocked me to have existed in a YA fantasy story, and it just provided such interesting stakes right at the beginning of this book. I read the first 100 pages super quickly, and I don't anticipate this being a slow read at all. I imagine there's going to be some romance, and I'm sure the characters will continue to intersect in ways I just don't know yet, and I'm curious to see how the romance will develop, because I also don't know yet. But this also, of course, has one of my classic favorite YA tropes of a girl pretending to be a boy and joining the army. Who doesn't like it? So yeah, I'm planning on reading more of this now, but just wanted to give you kind of a baseline of what is going on at the moment and just kind of an intro to the story itself. So yeah, I'm gonna read, check on my chili, and enjoy the rest of my night. And chili is served. Yum. Back on my drama shenanigans. I'm trying to finish up She Was Pretty, and then I think I'm gonna start Doom at Your Service. Matilda is asleep, but it's time to get back to reading. And there begins and ends my reenactment of the music video Butter. End scene. Happy afternoon, everyone. There's Clay. But I just want to show off my dress for the day and let you know I read to page 200 last night, so I definitely have a reading update for you. I plan to read a bit at lunch. I'm actually about to make lunch, but I first wanted to let you know, I don't know, that I got dressed. Say hello, happy Tuesday, all of that shenanigans. So, yeah. Alrighty, it's lunchtime. Salad of the week is a feta. Made a homemade Dijon vinaigrette, apples, some red onions, some pecans, and then I'm cooking some chicken with Italian seasoning. Easy, tasty, it's what we like. And bon appetit. It's time for that midday, actually it's like 4 p.m., 4:30 or something like that, but it's time for some coffee because we need it. And happy to report I've read another 50 pages. I will do a reading check-in once I finish up my day, but I'm really liking it. I've escaped to the bedroom. Let's see how long it takes for Matilda to have to join me. Instantaneously. Anyway, I wanted to do a reading check-in as I've wrapped up work, and as I mentioned, I've read to page 250. I'm so interested and invested in the story. Again, this is a reread, so I shouldn't act so surprised, but it's always nice when a book lands for a second time, you know? So I feel like I've already kind of mentioned the Phoenix Writer component and the magic, but I wanted to take some time to talk about how much I think the world is really interesting, and I feel like it provides an interesting setup for all of the characters to kind of interact and move in, particularly because this conflict, this civil war that was actually between two sisters, was only not that long ago, like maybe like 15, 20 years ago. It's kind of hard to tell exactly how long ago it was, but the impact, it's still a very fresh wound within the Empire is kind of my point. And all the character POVs that we're reading from have all been touched by this violent conflict in really huge ways in their lives, and they're all very much kind of shaped in some ways by this conflict as well. So there's a lot of like found connection between all of them if they happen to cross paths. Combining with that the conflict itself seems to be a bit murky. Like the more you learn about the two sisters and kind of the origin of the Civil War, obviously the outcome is pretty cut and dry in terms of what was good and what was bad. But some of the philosophy and approaches that both sisters took, it creates a more complicated picture, and I really appreciate how it kind of parallels the two sisters that we see within this story. And this is a multi-POV story, and two of our perspectives are actually linked together, Veronica and Tristane. They're both present at the Phoenix Writer kind of like training place. Veronica is currently disguising again as a servant in hopes of being sponsored to become a writer, and Tristane is the son of the commander, and they basically link up as they're both kind of helping each other train, as Veronica's very good at magic and Tristane is really good at the other stuff, combat and all of that shenanigans. These chapters are so much fun for a variety of reasons. Obviously, watching them kind of grow closer, seeing their camaraderie kind of bloom is really charming, and the natural YA trope of a girl pretending to be a boy and feeling guilty about it and being in awkward situations that just create a lot of humor, I've been loving as well. And then our other POV is Sev, who is kind of disguising himself in the military, and he kind of gets wrapped up with some animages who are also rebels within the army. And you kind of see him get closer to this organization, and you also learn more about his past and his parents. And there is a bit of a, what I think is gonna turn from a hate to love romance going on there between him and another character named Cade. I don't know though, but I am suspicious. But so far, it's definitely really intrigued me. I feel like the world building is great. I love the training sequences. I love the spying sequences. And I'm really curious to see how the politics continue to expand, because I do feel like there is some hidden things that have yet to be revealed, and I have a feeling that it's gonna be great, you know? But now I'm going to start prepping for dinner, but I have read already 250 pages of this book. And I do plan obviously to read more tonight. I'm adding some roasted potatoes to the chili mix. You know, keeping things fresh and spicy in this household. Enjoying a little aperitif of Clay's homemade salsa while my potatoes cook. And I think I'm gonna start Doom at your service because I can't wait any longer. I'm too curious. Dinner tonight, chili round 2, but we added potatoes. Yeah. Matilda is just so cute. Like, how are you a real thing? And you guys already know we're watching Vincenzo. So, episode 9 it is, folks. Good morning, everyone. gonna sit down and do some reading this morning before work, and I'll check in a little. Quick OOTD, wearing a cute little gingham dress. I also have read over the 300-page mark of this book. I'm still really liking it. I do think there's a bit of some pacing issues right in the middle, but overall I'm still really loving the sister narrative, and I love how it's paralleling to the past political history. It's just very intense. It's kind of giving me like the same sister vibes of like Three Dark Crowns, like they hate each other but they love each other sort of thing, you know? I'm vibing with it, but I gotta get back to it, but I just wanted to say hello. It's Wednesday. Clay ordered me a surprise for lunch. If you didn't know, it's a special day today. Oh yeah, baby! The collab of the century is here! Quick review on the BTS McDonald's meal. It was good. I mean, it was just nuggets and french fries, which didn't change. So if you like McDonald's chicken nuggets and french fries, you should like it. The sauces were really tasty. Sweet chili one, I think, was our favorite. Cajun one was good too. So, you know, would have been better if it came with a photo card, but can't have it all, can we? Hello world, I'm here for a reading update for Crown of Feathers. I have passed the 350-page mark. I think I'm gonna be able to finish this tonight. So I wanted to give some additional thoughts and feelings. Overall, I'm definitely enjoying this book. I don't know if I will give it the same high rating as I did the first time around. It's definitely good, but I have noticed a few things in the middle of the book that I might have overlooked the first time around, mostly just with the pacing, and I just felt like it kind of dragged a bit in the middle. But I would say it's also picking up again. Another criticism I would have, and I feel like there's still time to rectify this, particularly later on in the series, and maybe this is being done purposefully, but I wish there was a bit more discussion on like the gray area of this conflict, particularly because there's a lot of really dark and intense things going on. And that aspect of the story I really enjoy. But we're only really seeing one side of a conflict, and I appreciate when there is a bit of discussion on kind of the destruction that comes with war and kind of who gets caught up in that destruction of war. And some of the actions that our characters do, I feel like they maybe are purposely not thinking about the people side of it super intensely, but some of the things we're witnessing are rather harrowing, if that makes sense. And I just wish there was more acknowledgement and discussion of that, if that makes sense. Things I am still continuing to like though is definitely the sister element of this. I'd say, again, this is a multi-POV story, but I would say our primary character is definitely Veronica. And an aspect of the story I really like is that between her chapters, usually there is a piece of like written history from earlier on in this empire. And the author just draws a lot of parallels between her and her sister's relationship and the conflict between the two sisters that caused this war to begin with. And I think that is particularly interesting. And I hope she makes it very, very, very messy, because it could be, and I think the messier the better. That being said, I really have appreciated seeing Veronica separate from her sister throughout most of this book, though I do wish she had a bit more independence. I feel like she quickly latched onto another person. Be it right or wrong, that other person's great. Tristane is wonderful, but I would like to see more of like an individual character arc, and I'm sure we'll continue to get that through the rest of the series. I also wanted to shout, this is definitely a very animal, magic, heavy fantasy, so if you're not super into creature fantasy, keep that in mind. I'm generally not, and I think when it does delve pretty heavily into the creature fantasy part, I get a little less interested, but I do find the characters and the overall political aspect of this world to be really interesting. It does pull me back in, but I'm usually not someone who's like super into magical creature based fantasy. It's just usually not for me, but this one I feel like is pretty good still, and it's kind of like an exception on my end. I have about 100 or so pages left. Things are really heating up. In a lot of ways, I am kind of getting the impression that this is more the introduction to the rest of the books in this series, which is fine. If everything scales really well, I think it could be really interesting. And I will say the overall conflict that's been kind of at a standstill is beginning to simmer again. I feel like we're going to approach a boil, and it's really just how the author continues to explore the nuances of this conflict throughout the rest of the books in this series. I think will really hinge if this is going to be like an all-time fave or just like an okay YA fantasy book series. So we'll see. Again, I'm really enjoying this reread. I only have about 100 pages left, but those are my thoughts. I love the history, the sister parallel, the politics. I want more of that. And I'm getting really excited because the characters are starting to connect more. Like, I'm starting to see the threads come together, which I find cool. So we'll see how this wraps up, but I should definitely be able to finish this tonight. Opting for a single serve coffee this afternoon. Much needed though. Wrapped up my workday, so that means it's time for pajamas. I have about 50 pages left, so huzzah, definitely on track to finish this book tonight. But I'm now gonna make myself some pasta. So it's PJ and pasta time. And ooh, it looks like it's about to storm. Oh, love to see it. So I'm gonna find a show to watch, gonna make some pasta. As I keep saying, really excited about this pasta. And relax for the rest of the evening. It is absolutely pouring outside. And we love it, don't we, Matilda? See? We love the rain. I was about to chaotically start a new drama, but I said no. We're gonna go back to Pinocchio, which I took a break from when things started to get too serious and I was stressed out. But I'm ready. I'm ready to go back, ready to face it. So here we are. Episode 8. All right, we're keeping things very simple tonight for my dinner because I was craving pasta, as I keep saying. So I'm just making an olive oil garlic pasta. So I'm heating up some olive oil. Gonna put all of this delicious garlic, brown it up. Red pepper flakes, pasta water, combine, cheese, and we're good. Speedy dinner is complete. Literally, it's just browning garlic and olive oil and adding noodles and red pepper flakes. And that's it. You guys already know, episode 10, Vincenzo. And then maybe we'll just keep it rolling and watch Descendants of the Sun. It's the same lead actor.
Sounds good.
Literally every episode of Vincenzo is the length of a movie, but it's so worth it. Definitely one of my favorite K-dramas I've watched in a while. I really feel like it has it all. It has it all. Anyway, I am gonna sit down now and finish my book. So that is my focus for this evening. And I will likely check in with you guys in the morning, wrap up this book, and then start book 2 of this vlog, which I'm personally very excited about. Hello, it's me. I have been up for a while, actually. I don't know if I mentioned this, but Clay and I are going on a road trip next week. So I've really been focusing a lot this week on trying to get ahead. Matilda's making the funniest face at me. But anyway, it's obviously Thursday. And I'm gonna take a minute this morning to do some checkups on my, I made like a to-do list obviously at the beginning of this week, and I'm just seeing where I'm at with everything, just trying to make sure I did not forget anything, because you never know. I'm a forgetful person, which is why I started this process to begin with. So let's do some journaling. Good news is we're sort of on track, but I'm gonna get back to it now. Actually, wait, I'm gonna show you my new dress. Wearing a cardi for inside purposes, but I got this new yellow dress from Madewell and I just think it's so cute for summer. Big fan of this house. And I opted for these bento boxes for lunch today. 2 little rice balls, I got tofu, miso soup, tasty. Time for a midday cup of coffee, as it were. I also realize and recognize I need to wrap up my Crown of Feathers portion of this vlog. Matilda is truly being so cute. Look at her just lounging away, just lounging on this pillow. She's been laying on it all day long. Hello everyone. So I'm wrapping up Crown of Feathers. I have finished this book. I've read a total of 378 pages so far for this vlog, so I'm also pleased about that. I was right in that the pacing for sure picked up at the end, and the overall big reveal was satisfying. I stand by my statement of this kind of felt like, not like a prequel, but it was definitely setting up a lot of pieces for what I feel like is going to happen in the later books in the series, which I feel like it's a good sign because we can only really go up in terms of plot expansion from here. I really enjoyed the characters. I've said it before, I said it again. The sister stuff, sister relationship, and just how the author explored that, I felt like was the richest part of this plot. And I overall would say I did like this. Some of the animal magic stuff sometimes gets a little awkward for me. It kind of draws me out of the story, but for the most part, I was really interested in everything that was going on, and I for sure think I'll read book 2. That being said, I probably would alter my rating a bit, probably to like a 3.5. It was good, it was entertaining, but it also wasn't the best YA introduction I've ever read, but I, again, am interested in continuing on with the series. But from there, I'm going to pick up The Shadow of the Gods by John Glenn, which I'm really looking forward to. I would be lying if I didn't say I have incredibly high expectations for this book, so we will see if it's able to deliver. So I'm going to sit down now and actually read some of this before the evening, so I'll let you know. I read a quick 30 pages of Shadow of the Gods, and I'm definitely intrigued right away. I really like the writing style so far. It just seems like it's going to be darker and grittier, which is always something I enjoy when it comes to fantasy. I'm also just excited to finally be reading something by this author. I'm also hoping it dives kind of into the morality of conflict a bit more, like the characters contemplate that, even if they decide they don't want to have morals. Like, I just hope it's more part of the discussion, because that was something I kind of wanted more from Crown of Feathers. I obviously don't really know what's going to go down in this book, but I feel like it's going to be very intense, and I'm excited about it. But now I need to get ready, which means just putting on a denim jacket, because Clay and I are actually going out for his birthday dinner tonight. And if you're wondering, no, it's not Clay's birthday. His birthday was 9 months ago, but we just decided to delay it until we were safely able to have a birthday dinner, you know? So much delayed birthday dinner is happening tonight, taking Clay out for dinner. It's a bit of a date night. So I need to, I don't know, brush my hair in preparation for that. But yeah, it's the big plans of the evening. I need to put my laundry away too. All right, we're off to Clay's very belated birthday dinner. Another year older. And in 3 months, you'll be another year older again. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. It's actually such a lovely night. I feel like this is my first time stepping outside for this vlog, because truthfully, it's kind of my first time stepping outside this week. And we're home, and we're watching Vincenzo. Anyway, the show just keeps I feel like I've been talking about this show for weeks because we've been watching it for so long, but truly impeccable. What do you rate it, Clay?
Vincenzo? I don't have like a 1 out of 10 score, but it's the second best K-drama I've watched, Chloe being the best.
Hi friends, and welcome to the end of the vlog the next day. It is so gloomy outside, so I apologize for the lighting, but I just wanted to quickly wrap up everything I was able to read. I'm actually going to start with The Shadow of the Gods, because I was able to read 100 pages of this, and oh my gosh, I am already so into this story. It is gruesome and dark, and just the overall atmosphere, like the environment so far that John Glenn has been able to make, this like cold, you know, Viking inspired landscape just feels so lush, but the world is so dark. It's basically, the concept is there was this war between the gods and they've since perished, but with their destruction, it basically like opened up a realm where all these evil beasts have come to the land, and so humanity has been kind of fighting against these beasts. And if you find like the bones of these dead gods, you gain a little extra power. This is multi-POV, and so far with the POVs I've encountered, I by no means know the full plot and where this is going to escalate, but through their individual chapters, it is an interesting ride to say the least, and it's so intense, and again, gruesome. One chapter we follow a mother with her young son and husband as they're kind of investigating or encountering some murders in their like nearby homestead. We follow a runaway thrall who has killed his master and has now joined a group of mercenaries called the Bloodsworn, who basically kills these monsters for money. And lastly, a noblewoman in search for fame herself. It's just intriguing to say the least. Like, there's a lot going on, but like it's still very quiet at the same time in the beginning. The atmosphere, the vibe, the brutality, it's surely grabbed my attention so far, so I'm definitely looking forward to continuing to read this. Definitely up my street, to say the least. So I've read 100 pages of this, and then obviously I read the remaining 376 pages of Crown of Feathers. I've gone and talked about this book at length. I liked it. I didn't love it this time around, but still happy I was able to reread it. But I hope you guys enjoyed this reading vlog, and I will see you soon with another one soon.